Hello again, it's Noob, and by this point you're probably more than familiar with Lishi picks and Lishistyle picks, these 2-in-1 picks for pin tumblers, which are, well, they came in popularity a couple of years ago now, and now they're relatively ubiquitous. They're good tools, they do work in specific locks, not really a lock sport item because you don't learn a lot about, picking locks and pin states with these picks, but they are very, very effective. But what you might not know is that there is a new-ish, it's been around for a while now, I'm a bit late to the party, Lishistyle pick for Ingersoll impregnable locks. This is a rim cylinder. This is a 10 lever. Yes, it's not pins. There are levers and a sidebar inside this. I'll leave a link to a couple of videos where I picked these locks and you can see the insides. Really fascinating mechanisms. Honestly, really, really good. But this tool is for that classic Ingersoll S-style keyway for the 10, not 6 lever versions of the locks. These locks operate like any other lock. The levers are offset in a stagger, so they are not directly opposite each other. You can see my fingernails there in the grooves where the cuts and the keys represent the spacing between the levers. This pick will pick 360 if you need to. I think you can use a plug spinner on it as well. And it's a really cool little tool. Full disclosure, this was a trade between myself and a friend, but that friend does have a commercial interest in a company that sells this, and I don't know anywhere else that sells it, so I'm going to leave a link to that, but just know that although this was a trade between me and a friend, that friend does have a commercial interest in the link I'll leave in the description, so do that information as you will. I just like to be very honest, as always, with my disclosures. It comes with a little handle, which is very, very important, and it can screw in multiple places on this for your preference as needed. So it is a tool which just acts as a Lishistyle pick. You can see that this is designed to pick both the bottom set of levers by moving up, there's a fulcrum there, and the top set of levers by pushing down. Now you'll see on here that there are markings. So 4 is literally that position, so just riding the top here. So that is almost a zero lift, if you like. And if I put that in position, you'll see how little that pick tip protrudes up at the 4 positions. That's the 4 position. There's only 4 depth of cuts in these little rim cylinders. Now, it's the very top, or, well, if we go on this scale, going 4, 3, 2, 1, it's the very top of that. It's a stop, it's a double-sided stop, so you can't pull this out. And it guides the position of the pick tip in these little slots, but it's the very top. So 1 for the bottom set would just be there. Can you see that position? Then 2 would be here, 3 would be there, and then 4 would be here. At the top set, which is this bottom set of indicators, it's going to be 4, 3, 2, and 1. So you can decode these locks, and if you have a key cutting machine which can cut to code, then if you pick with this tool, of course, you'll be able to decode the lock and cut a key for a keyless Ingersoll, which I think is pretty cool. So yeah, what you do is you stick this in, you would then try to find all of your binding levers, you then push this up and try to find a click. The only difference is between this and, say, a standard pin tumbler Lishi pick is how much more robust this is. Look at the thickness in comparison all over, really. It's just a bit chunkier, and that's because you do need to put a surprising amount of tension on this. Not too much because you'll overset your levers, not too little, otherwise they'll drop down, but quite a bit. It is a robust tool. You don't want to obviously crank it too hard, you probably will damage it, but I've used this a few times in practice and it looks really good still. But yeah, you will need this handle to just apply a reasonable amount of torque. I like to put it in the bottom here, or is it the top? It depends which way around you're picking, I guess. But yeah, I put it there and support with my fingers. You'll see that in a second. So let's go on to some demos. First off, I'll show this 10 lever sidebar rim cylinder already picked to demonstrate how this can be rotated a full 360 before it locks back up again. Then I'll go to a full picking demo of me picking this rim cylinder lever by lever until we get that open, with some hints and tips on the way about how to use this tool. It is not quite as easy to use as a standard Lishistyle pick because of the nature of the lock, because it is a surprisingly high security lock, and it's a very tricky pick if you do this by hand. If anybody's ever done it, you'll know what I'm talking about. So here is a 10 lever Ingersoll impregnable rim cylinder, completely picked using this tool already, and that can go all the way round, and it will lock up eventually, I think, as it goes back to that position. So now we're back locked up, let's pop the pick in and try and pick this lock from scratch again. So you've got two tensioning prongs here. They need to go completely into the warding of the keyway. This part of the bow, I don't know, the neck, that needs to go in and butt up against the plate, front plate of the plug. The picking tip here, that needs to be centered, and you can put it back or front as long as it stays centered. If you put it all the way to the back, it does seem to go in all the way better. Sometimes the prongs can just sort of rest here, and you just need to sort of move this picking tip in and out a bit until it sits flush. Now, you do need to get the tension just right on this. That's probably the key to this. If it's too much tension, when you pick upwards or downwards, you're putting so much pressure on the levers, they can overset. If you don't put enough on, then you'll push down the spring back up. You want to find that right sweet spot where you get nice positive clicks when you try to set a particular lever. Now, in their base state with no tension, all of these should spring up and down in the right position. So you see how these are all springy, up and down. They'll spring up like that at the bottom, and it'll spring back to you if you push up like that at the top. Now, other tips are, don't force it. You can release the tension a little bit if you really need to set, if you feel like something does need to get set. Otherwise, don't over force it, but you do need quite a lot of tension on. So I'm going to start at the back, lever 5. Now this is at the top here, but technically I'm pushing down with the pick tip sort of pivoting here at the fulcrum and then tipping down. So if I say at 5 at the top, I mean this bottom row, and 5 at the bottom, I mean this top row. So yeah, keep this nice and central, nice amount of tension. We'll start out with 5, and it feels like it's binding because it's not springing and stopping, because when it's set, it's a little bit of play and it springs and stops. This feels like it's binding, so I'll move it up like that. Now 4, the same again, nice positive click. 3, same again, positive click. 2, nothing. 1, nice click. Okay, so now try 1 at the bottom, binding. That'll do for now. I wasn't 100% with that. Now this is a case of, I think this is set. See, little spring, but it stops, spring and stop. This, springy, can't do anything with that. This one, it felt like it's binding, but increasing the tension isn't doing anything, and that feels like set too. So back to the top. This is a not much more positive click on 5. Nothing mushy on 4. 3 feels okay. 2 little click. 1 feels fine. 1 little click but not set. 2 set. 3 springy. 4 binding. Much more better click. Then nothing on 5. 5 feels okay. 4 nice click. 3 mushy still. 2 little click. 1 another click. 1, 2 feels set. 3 feels set. 4 feels set. 5 feels set. 5 at the bottom feels set. 4 at the bottom feels set, 3 feels set, 2 does, and 1. So something isn't quite right. We just need to go through. Oh, something dropped. We need to find out what it is. 3, nice click. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Something isn't set, and I can't tell who. All feels quite good actually, but I must have missed something. 5. This is the top row. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so something must be slightly overset, so I'll just rock this a little bit, releasing tension a little bit at a time, and maybe we can just drop a lever or two and see where we get to. Just relaxing that tension. There you go, I dropped something. Okay, so hear that one click? So now we just need to find out. 3, and we're open. So I must have just overset lever 3 at the bottom. I know it's the top. I just released that tension. It dropped back down. So also I hadn't dialed in the tension properly, probably put too much on, overset it as I picked it. But now we are picked, look at that. And because these levers are offset, you're not going to get a lockup. Oh, I just locked it back up. You're not going to get a lockup, as you saw earlier. As you rotate it 180 degrees, you've got to do the full 360 to get it open. And there you go. So there you go. That was a really fun demo. It was very different to using a standard Lishistyle pick, whether it's the dimple locks or the padlock picks or the standard pin tumbler picks. This is different. You do need to use a lot more torque, as I said earlier, to just apply that force, but you'll need to dial it in. The one thing I would say, which is interesting about this, is that you will need to practice first. I don't think you go in just blind with one of these and go straight up to, if you're a locksmith, a door and pick. You probably need to know what you're doing first and get a feel for how these tension genuinely, just because they are tricky even with this. Now this does make picking one of these, it's hard to say, isn't it, at least 2, 3, 4, 5 times easier. It just does, because you don't have to worry about, am I on top of a lever? Which lever am I on? You always know that, and you can definitely feel for the binders. Now, it's really all to that tension control. It's very easy to put too much torque on, and then you end up sort of oversetting levers. It's also easy to put too little on, and then find that they keep dropping down, and you can't ever get a full set. So it does take a little bit of practice, but it definitely makes picking these incredible locks a lot more easy and a lot more accessible. Now, is this a good tool for locksmiths? I think if you are coming up against these locks regularly, I know that they are more popular in and around some parts of London, but I've seen these all around everywhere really. But I guess if you are a working locksmith, you will know if you come across these in your area more often, and if you do, then I would definitely say this is something to look into. I don't know, I think this is the only one. This is designed by Jason Hillier, who some of you may know. And if you are a lock sporter, I think I can't remember what the price of these are off the top of my head, but they're not cheap. And I would say that unless you have a lot of Ingersolls in your collection, you really want one of these to decode some of them, maybe hand file keys, I don't know, or you just fancy one of these tools. I mean, hey, I've been in this lock sport hobby for over 8 years, almost 9 years, I think now. I sometimes buy tools just because I like them, I want them, they're part of the collection, they're part of the hobby. I get that. And if you do, then I don't blame you, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend that to somebody who just wants to pick an Ingersoll. I think it's going to be an investment too far for a lock sporter, But again, if you are well into the hobby, this really interests you, it's a very unique Lishistyle pick, and for a very unique lock, then again, I wouldn't blame you. Some people just like to collect the tools. I'm one of those people. You might be one of those people too. So yeah, I would say it's a very effective tool. It works really well, but it does require a bit of practice to dial in that torque. Different locks of different ages will probably require a little bit of adjustment. So yeah, it's all about skill and experience, as well as a tool which really helps you to get these types of lock open. So yeah, what do you think to this tool? I think it's a really unique spin on the Lishistyle picks. I'd love to know your thoughts. Put them down in the comments. I do read them all and reply to as many as I can. If you like this video, want to see more like it, hit that like. If you haven't subscribed, then hit that subscribe. If you think I deserve it, all that kind of stuff helps my channel out. And you can always, hit that notification bell as well, so you can be notified when new videos. Otherwise, all I can say is stay safe, happy picking, and I'll see you all next time.